business in Chicago.
I want to sell you your Weil at Weil Cadillac in Libertyville.
Do women feel that men are downright rude? On the next Oprah Winfrey.
We liked it so much here in Bath, England, we decided to stay a second day. And today in Bath, we wind up our first week of our two-week trip through the Great Britain and Ireland. And we, of course, have already been to Edinburgh, Scotland, to York in northern England, and next week it's on to London, Belfast in Northern Ireland, and then south to Kilkenny in the Republic of Ireland. And good morning, everyone. I'm Joan London.
And I'm Charles Gibson. It's Friday, May 11th, and it is pretty. We are about a few feet from our home base here. We're out on the River Avon this morning. Thank you. A little juice this morning. We toast you on a Friday. Always nice to have a Friday. And the surroundings here are so pretty that it's hard to realize that you've got an ugly debate swirling around here over the poll tax. You've probably seen the pictures on television of the riots that tax has occasioned, and we'll be talking about it. It's probably the most controversial tax England has had in 6 centuries. Also be celebrating this morning the centenary of the birth of England's most famous mystery writer, maybe even most famous writer of all, Agatha Christie. Going to be visiting today with musician Peter Gabriel, who lives in the neighborhood, as well as Oscar-winning actress Brenda Fricker, who's going to be stopping by. And Spencer is just a few swimming strokes and a short walk from here over at the Abbey in Bath. Spencer?
Yes, Charlie, I'm here in the heart of Bath, actually the center of pedestrian traffic, that's for sure. And behind me, of course, Bath Abbey, also known as the Abbey Church of St. Peter and St. Paul. And we'll be taking you inside to take a look at this magnificent structure a little bit later, and we'll have a look at the weather as well. Joan?
All right, Spencer, right now we'll go back to New York, where Mike Schneider has all the news of the day. Mike, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Joan. Good morning, Charlie. And good morning, everyone. Sirius standing by live. Having fun?
I'm having a great time, Mike. This has been a really wonderful trip, and Bath is so beautiful. Not far from me, Spencer Christian is outside Bath's magnificent Abbey with the National Weather Forecast. Spencer?
Okay, Joan, it is a magnificent structure, isn't it? And what you're looking at right now is the front of Bath Abbey. You can see the depiction of angels ascending ladders there. This is built in the British perpendicular style. We won't tell the British, but most buildings are built perpendicular to the ground. This church dates back to 1499, and it's just a beautiful structure inside and out. We'll show you the inside a little bit later. Right now, let's take a look at today's weather. It's going to be stormy in a couple of areas up in the northeast. Storms diminishing, but still rather gray and overcast. Rainfall and some thunder showers there. 21 inches of snow fell yesterday near Marquette, Michigan. It's still cold over the Great Lakes. And we have a second area of storms developing now in the central and southern plains. It'll be quite messy in that region today. This is an area already hard hit by rainfall and flooding over the last 2 weeks. The last thing they need there is more rain, but it's coming today. That's a quick look at the national weather picture. And here's a look at the weather where you are.
Good morning, Jerry Tabb in the Channel 7 Newsroom. 42 degrees right now. Lots of sunshine here this morning. We'll see some clouds moving in this afternoon. Warmer today with a high of 62. Rain after midnight tonight and rain tomorrow.
Coming up in my next weather forecast, I'll have a look at the goodbye storms and the hello storms. I'll explain in the next half hour. Charlie?
Thank you, Spencer. It's now 10 minutes after the hour. Anyone who has watched the news over the last month or two has seen the riots here in Britain that occurred after imposition of the poll tax imposed by the Conservative government of Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. It is difficult to explain, but to explain it as simply as possible, each person over 18 in this country is expected now to pay a flat rate to finance their local government. And it replaces a form of local real estate taxes that were assessed according to the value of property. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Richard Hall is the chairman of the Bath Conservative Association and a member of the Avon County Council, which represents Bath and surrounding areas. And Walter Kennedy is the assistant secretary for the All Britain Anti-Poll Tax Federation. He has just been elected a labor councillor in Hillingdon East in Middlesex, if I've got all that right.
That's right.
And gentlemen, you're nice to join us this morning. Let me get a quick explainer. We have property taxes in the States where you pay a percentage of the value of your home or your property. And you had that, right? But that's now eliminated.
Well, we had a form of tax which was based on property, but it was based on a notional rental income, and only about 1 in 3 people paid the rates.
But you paid proportionate to what you owned.
Yes,
the value of what you own.
More or less.
Okay, now instead you're paying a flat rate per person basically a head tax, certain amount per person, everybody in the family over 18.
There is a standard community charge, but under the new arrangements there are two major differences. 3 times as many people will pay the community charge, so it'll spread the burden of local government finance costs much, much more widely and hold many, many more people accountable. They'll actually have to bear the consequences of their electoral decisions. The other important thing about the standard community charge is that it won't be paid by everybody, and it doesn't cover the total cost of local government. Half of it will be borne through the government from income tax and other progressive sources.
Federal taxes that you pay to the government in London.
That's right.
But basically it's designed to pay for local services like education, like police, like
social services, traffic, refuse collection and so on. Yes, that's absolutely right.
Walter Kennedy, why has it occasioned such violent reaction?
Well, in the first instance, we don't see how it can be portrayed as being a fair tax when an 18-year-old who takes home as little as £60 per week would pay the same tax as a multi-millionaire. And indeed, many of the multi-millionaires also think it's unfair. One of the reasons, see, that they've used is because they say that if 4 or 5 or 6 adults live in a house, they should pay more than an individual who lives on their own. But of course, the reason why 4 or 5 or 6 adults live in a house is not out of choice, is they can't afford to move out because of the high interest rates, because of the high mortgage rates, because they've also haven't built any homes to rent.
And certainly you touched the horror stories, the fact that a duke would be paying as much as his chauffeur, or the chauffeur would be paying as much as the duke, and that 5 people in a house would pay 5 times as much as the rich widower who perhaps lives alone. But the purpose of it is to get accountability so that people know how much their local governments are spending. They know if they're paying more than the people in the next community. It gives accountability to the local governments, does it not?
Well, it doesn't, because only 25% to 30% of local authority expenditure would be raised through the poll tax. For instance, if a local authority wanted to build homes, and at the moment in London there are over 51,000 people sleep on the streets. They haven't built any homes. For the local authority to try and remedy that, they'd have to raise all of that finance through the poll tax part of their expenditure. So every £1 that they need to raise, in actual fact, it would cost them £4.
What he's saying is patently not the total picture, because 10 million people will benefit from various forms of rebates under this new system. So in fact, the top 10% of earners will be paying 15 times as much as the bottom end. The least well-off will get all sorts of rebates and benefits. So they'll only be paying 1/20th of the cost of the local government services coming to them. And it's the people who benefit. It's a people-related set of services, as you mentioned, education and social services, roads and so on. They're not property-based services. And therefore, I think it is much fairer to have such a system.
Well,
if there are rebates for the poor, why not?
That's absolute nonsense. There are people in Scotland where the poll tax was introduced last year, and almost half the population are not now paying it. The idea of the rebates is a nonsense, by the way, because it means that if you're entitled to a rebate, it means for every £1 increase that you get in your income, you therefore lose £1 on your rebate, so you're in a permanent state of poverty.
Quick question. There is an idea about taxes that they should be based on ability to pay. This is a flat rate. Yes, there are rebates, but isn't there an iniquitous situation when you have the chauffeur paying as much as the duke?
But he really doesn't, because if you start with a blank sheet of paper in this new system and you're trying to find a fair way of paying for local government services, if half comes out of the central government purse, which is largely paid for through income taxes, then it seems reasonable that a quarter should be paid for by individuals, and then 10 million of those people will benefit from rebates. And some of the least well-off will not only benefit from rebates, but will get social security that pays for that 20%.
You're saying half comes from progressive taxes, a quarter from the flat
I believe
rate.
so, and a quarter comes from businesses, so there's a contribution there as well.
Well, whatever it is certainly controversial. We have to run because we're out of time. Walter Kennedy?
We're not paying the poll tax here, by the way.
We're not paying a poll tax?
We're not paying the poll tax.
Some people want to break the law.
We'll be back. Whether they pay or not, we'll debate that later. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back.
Thank you.
It's a fact.
It's been said that a man's home is his castle, but as our Steve Fox found out, the owners of some of England's most impressive manors are feeling a little less comfy about home and hearth these days.
England has long been known for its stately country homes. Unfortunately, it has also become known for its high wealth and inheritance taxes. The result is that the descendants of the aristocrats who built the fortunes that built the homes often find themselves land rich but cash poor. As a result, many of them have had to open the homes to the public for a fee. Over the years, this has escalated into what many consider an unseemly and highly competitive battle for the hearts and minds of the visitors and their money. Longleat House, built in 1580 in Warminster, was one of the first such homes to enter this battle. When it opened to paying visitors in 1949, public sentiment was less than favorable.
Everybody thought it was a terrible idea and rather vulgar and awful thing to do. And about 3 years later, there were about 200 or 300 houses who had followed suit, and now there's, what, 1,700, I think?
But opening Longleat to tours did not draw enough visitors to pay the bills. So, several years later, a safari park was added. Today, the safari park is the big attraction for the 800,000 folks who annually come to Longleat, some of whom stay on the grounds in trailer parks. In fact, only 1/4 of the visitors actually tour the Great House. To stay competitive, Longleat has added other attractions, including its latest, a simulator that mimics experiences like downhill skiing. What's the future for stately homes like this? Do you see it? Are you optimistic?
I can't see why it shouldn't go on almost forever. There's nothing really to compete with houses like this.
About an hour's drive south of Longleat in Salisbury is Wilton House, built in the 17th century. This stately home features a toy train collection, a dollhouse, and 14,000 acres of beautiful grounds, 26 of which were sold to finance a recent restoration. But the big draw here is the art collection.
Well, this is a painting by Van Dyck. It's the largest painting that he ever painted.
The hereditary Earl of Pembroke lives in and runs Wilton House.
And it shows my ancestor, Philip IV, Earl of Pembroke, with his wife and his various children and their husbands and wives.
The art of Wilton House draws about 100,000 visitors a year, but that only produces enough revenue to pay about half the cost of maintaining the place. Have you found that the business of getting visitors to come here has gotten more competitive?
It's becoming more competitive all the time. You really have to struggle to get people here. It's completely different to what it was 15, 20 years ago.
So you're finding that the art alone, it's not enough?
Sadly, art alone is no longer enough. No, however beautiful the paintings, the furniture, the architecture, people want more.
What are you going to do?
Add to the attractions. Add to the attractions, put in new exhibitions, and hopefully then get the families in, the children. That's what you need.
The kids don't come to see the art, I guess.
They get bored. However good it is, they need more.
Not far from Wilton House is a stately home that may have found the ultimate visitor attraction. The estate called Booley dates back to the 13th century, although in the Middle Ages, the view of Palace House was probably not obscured by a tourist shop. Booley's 500,000 annual visitors can tour the house, see the model trains, ride the aerial tram, and kids can play on electric cars. But the main attraction of this $10 million yearly business is the National Motor Museum, with its collection of 200 cars.
We're going to be one of the largest museums in the world, but it was really a dedication, a memorial to my father, who was, I say, intimately concerned with the early days of motoring.
There's a picture in the museum of your father and the future King Edward in a car. What's that all about?
Well, my father really was responsible for introducing the royal family to motoring. He took King Edward for one of his very first motor drives in that particular car, as out of which the royal family bought a Daimler car like that, and the Daimlers were royal cars for many, many years. Now it's more Rolls-Royce.
Why did you decide to run this instead of just selling it off?
Well, I think when you've lived in a home for generations, I think you feel an enormous emotional feeling towards the house. I think that it is that more than anything that gives us the will to carry on and save our family homes. We'd rather sacrifice our privacy and keep our roofs above our heads rather than, you know, keep our privacy and see our houses fall down.
Oh, I hope they keep them all. That's one of the wonderful things about Europe, is that they preserve things here and you can come and look into the past. We'll be back with more of Good Morning America right after this.
A kiss?
This is an Eyewitness News Brief, brought to you by Chicago.
What are you doing Friday night?
Amanda Roberts from the American Community School in Cobham, Surrey. Good morning, America, from Beth! Yay!
And good morning, colonies, as we're saying these days. I'm Charles Gibson.
And I'm Joan London. It is Friday. It is May 11th.
And we talked a lot yesterday about the baths that are here in Bath. Yeah. The Romans came for the restorative powers of the waters almost 2 centuries ago. Tourists still come, really, to take a look at the waters, the extraordinary hot springs that come up from the earth. Well, today's miracle cures are really antibiotics, and it's interesting that just about 50, 60 miles from here in Oxford, a group of scientists, almost by mistake, wound up developing penicillin during the Second World War. It is a fascinating detective story, a medical detective story, and our sleuth, Dr. Tim Johnson, has been on the case following the story. He's going to explain it. It really is a very interesting story.
And speaking of English detective stories, it is no mystery who is this world's best-loved and best-selling mystery writer. It is England's own Agatha Christie, and this is her centennial year, and her grandson will be here to discuss the enduring appeal and also to talk about her life here. Right now, though, Mike Schneider has the news for us back in New York. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Joan. Good morning again, everyone. This by with the weather and a good deal more. Spence?
Okay, Mike, yes, a good deal more indeed. Here you see the outside of Bath Abbey. We were outside a little bit earlier. Now we are actually inside this magnificent structure, and it is just as beautiful inside, perhaps more beautiful than the outside. Taking a look now at the stained glass windows and the marvelous architecture in here. This this church is known for its fan vaulting in the ceiling here and the clear-story windows along the upper sides of the walls here. It's often been called the Lantern of the West because of those windows, and we'll see more of this in just a moment. Right now, we'll take a look at today's weather. Starting with the outlook, it's going to be a stormy day for a couple of sections of the country. Up in the northeast, we have storms tapering off. Heavy rainfall and thunder showers hit the northeast last night and yesterday. Heavy snowfall over the Great Lakes. That's all tapering off now, giving way to high pressure, which will bring clear skies. But in the southwest and the southern plains, we have more stormy weather developing. Heavy showers and thunder showers will push into the plains once again, hitting areas already hard hit by rainfall and flooding over the last week: Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Kansas. Meanwhile, the west coast will be mostly sunny, but a little bit on the cool side. High temperatures out west today will reach only into the 60s. The southern 1/3 of the nation will see more spring-like temperatures, highs in the 70s and 80s, but up in the northern 2/3, still on the cool side, 50s and 60s through the plains and 40s and 50s in the Great Lakes. That's a look at the national weather picture, and here's a look at the weather where you are.
Good morning, Jerry Tappan, the Channel 7 Newsroom. 42 degrees right now. Lots of sunshine here this morning. Clouds coming in this afternoon, and rain late tonight into tomorrow. Lots of rain tomorrow with a high of only 60.
Joining me now is Ken and Richard Askew, the rector of Bath Abbey, and I know you can't give us a complete history of this church in just 60 seconds, but can you tell us maybe about 1 or 2 historical events that have taken place here?
Well, it's certainly been possible. 675 was when Christian worship started on this spot with the foundation of a convent. One of the great events that happened here was the crowning of the first king of all England in 973, so that's a year or 2 back.
And this is the 3rd great church that has been on this site,
yes,
is that
this
correct?
church that you're in now is relatively new. 1499 this was started. There's a lot of work to be done to it, and we're going to face a great repair bill for conservation in the next few years. But really, it's a centre for living worship now. We have 1,000 people through this church every Sunday to worship God.
And it's a great tourist spot as well.
We welcome our visitors.
I wish we had more time to visit with you, but thanks for joining us for this brief time.
Thank you.
This weather report brought to you by Coleman. And coming up, breaking the mold, how Oxford scientists develop penicillin. After this.
Presenting. In just 2 weeks, Oxford University will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the very first penicillin experiments with animals that led to the modern-day era of antibiotics. Now, most people associate the discovery of penicillin with Alexander Fleming, who was working out of St. Mary's in London. But as our medical editor, Dr. Tim Johnson, reports, without the groundwork at Oxford University, Fleming's experiments might have been wasted.
London at historic St. Mary's Hospital, where, in 1928, right up in that second-story laboratory, an unknown bacteriologist made a very accidental discovery.
The bacteriologist was a Scotsman, Alexander Fleming. The accident that made history in his laboratory occurred in this culture plate, growing a sample of the Staphylococcus bacterium. The growth had been accidentally contaminated with this unknown mold. And what captured Fleming's attention, as shown on this model reconstruction, was this clear zone around the mold. Something from the mold was inhibiting the growth of the bacterium, and that something turned out to be penicillin. Almost as amazing as Fleming's accidental discovery was the fact that no one, including Fleming, paid further immediate attention to how this discovery might be applied to human disease.
Indeed, it was not until over 10 years later that a research team here at Oxford University, working in this building, the Dunn School of Pathology, was able to purify and extract penicillin from the mold to test it in animals. And on Saturday evening, May 25th, 1940, they injected 4 mice with the bacterium Staphylococcus and 4 other mice with both the bacterium and with penicillin to see if it would protect them.
Howard Florey, a pathologist, and Ernest Chain, a chemist, led the Oxford effort. Both are dead, but Norman Heatley, now retired, was the member of the original Oxford research team who stayed up into the early morning hours observing the mice. And he still remembers when he knew that penicillin would work.
Oh, very soon, I think after 7 or 8 hours, the controls were certainly sick and the treated ones weren't.
The next obvious step was to try penicillin in a human patient. And on February 12, 1941, in this Oxford hospital known as the Radcliffe Infirmary, a 43-year-old policeman who had been fighting a losing battle against a body-wide staph infection was given an injection of 200 milligrams of penicillin.
There was an almost immediate effect after giving penicillin. His temperature came down quite quickly, and he began to eat. He markedly improved, but there wasn't enough penicillin. The supply ran out, and he died about a month after penicillin was started.
3 months later, this 4-and-a-half-year-old boy suffering from a severe head infection was also treated with penicillin. His response was dramatic.
By the end of 10 days, it was virtually normal. He was sitting up, blowing trumpets and playing with his toys and so on.
Enormous obstacles had to be overcome before penicillin could be produced in large amounts. But before World War II ended, penicillin saved thousands of lives on the battlefield. And in 1945, the Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded to Fleming, Chain, and Florey in recognition of their work on behalf of all mankind.
All right, now why does everybody know, though, Alexander Fleming, and they don't know so much about the researchers?
Well, because St. Mary's Hospital and Fleming were very cooperative with the press once the Oxford people had found that penicillin would indeed work, whereas the Oxford researchers in those days were very shy and wouldn't talk to the press. So Fleming got the credit, but when the scientists looked into the story, they knew that all of them were involved, and they gave the Nobel Prize to everybody.
A few interesting twists to the story, right?
Oh, absolutely. For example, that first patient that was talked about who ultimately died because they couldn't get enough penicillin to keep it going. They were so desperate that every day they took his urine and extracted the penicillin from his urine that they'd already given him and reused it. But even with that kind of a maneuver, they eventually ran out of the supply of penicillin, and as we said, unfortunately, he died. Another interesting twist. These Oxford researchers were so concerned at one point that the Germans might overrun Oxford
and come in and find
their discovery that they smeared the penicillin mold they were working on in the lining of their clothing so that if the Germans reached Oxford, they would destroy the experiment. At least one of them would escape with the clothing on his back, literally, and with the penicillin mold inside, and they'd be able to restart the experiment somewhere else. They were remarkable men, determined men. They never gave up, and they made a discovery that changed the course of medicine.
Knew the importance of their discovery. Tim, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be back after this from Arthritis Pain Formula.
Okay, we're...
Street. And I am now in the center of the hustling, bustling tourist activity here in Bath on Stall Street, which is sort of a pedestrian mall, you might say, with some wonderful shops. But you don't really have to shop here. You can also amuse yourself or entertain yourself in other ways. For example, you could take a horse and carriage ride with Patty here, and we're holding him up because he has customers to pick up, don't you? So we'll stroll along. Or you could take in some of the wonderful local photography. This is some beautiful photography taken mainly around the Bath area, I presume, by Ed, the photographer. This all is local photography?
Yeah, a lot of it's local. There are landscapes from all over England, but most of it's local from
Out
Bath.
of the countryside mainly, or here in the city of Bath?
There's a lot of actually of the city itself in Bath, yeah. Very popular with tourists.
Popular with the tourists, not so much with the locals, right?
Well, no, locals too, but tourists as well.
Okay, Ed, we're going to move along. Thank you. And over here we have some sidewalk entertainment, we might call it back in the States. We've got Noel, and Noel, your friend is?
Freddie the ferret.
Freddie the ferret.
Freddie the ferret.
He does not bite, I hope.
No, you stroke him if you wish. Yeah, you may.
Who's the star of this show, you or Freddie?
Sorry, I don't know what I did. It just seemed like a good idea at the time. He's the star, unfortunately.
Yes. Okay, I'll send you my medical bills.
The tetanus
Good luck.
injections go on.
I think. Good luck. And of course, there's always music here on Stall Street. And here we have John and Mike. This is John, right?
Hello, yes.
I'm already holding a mic, so I'll talk to John. How long do you play here each day?
Varies, usually 2 or 3 hours.
Mainly for the tourists?
Mainly.
Looking to get that big break soon, I presume?
Hopefully, yes. We'd like to say a big thank you to all our American customers. Thanks for buying the tapes, fellas. Keep it up. Thanks very much.
Okay, John and Mike, good luck to you. Thank you for your hospitality and the entertainment. And that's it here from Stall Street. I'll have more as the program goes on. In just a moment, Agatha Christie at 100 as Good Morning America continues.
Scott Turow.
The signs of spring. Centers.
It's now 10 minutes before the hour. With more than 2 billion, and that is billion with a B, books sold, she may be the world's most popular writer, give or take a Shakespeare, and I am talking about Agatha Christie. This year marks the 100th anniversary of her birth, and there are celebrations planned all over the world, the most elaborate here in England. We are joined today by her grandson, Matthew Pritchard, who is also chairman of Agatha Christie Limited, although there is nothing limited about what she spawned with her writings, for sure. I said give or take a Shakespeare. Is it really true? Maybe she has sold more books than William Shakespeare?
I think it probably is true. She wrote more books than William Shakespeare, and we live in a time when more people read. And the great thing about my grandmother's books is that they are sheer and absolute entertainment, with no sort of slant towards education. I mean, they were written to be enjoyed.
She died only in 1976, just 14 years ago, right? So she had some idea of just what had happened. How comfortable was she with the incredible fame and the number of books that she sold and spawned?
She was very comfortable with the idea of that her books were enjoyed by so many people. She was very uncomfortable with fame. She wouldn't have liked to be sitting where I'm sitting now.
I was just going to say, would she have done this with us? No.
But I mean, she felt that she was an authoress and that her job, which she enjoyed doing, was writing books for other people's enjoyment. She didn't really see why she had to talk about them.
Why was she so shy, though? Was it just in her nature? She didn't...
Well, I think she had 1 or 2 unfortunate experiences when she was young, when her first marriage was breaking up, and I think she held it against the press, and that made her very shy.
That period of time where she disappeared and it became such a cause célèbre in England?
I mean, she was the friendliest and nicest and most communicative person in the world in private, but she just found it very difficult to do in public, and she once was nearly a concert singer, and she couldn't do that because she couldn't do it in public.
It was just that shyness that came back again. Now, I mentioned the fact this is the centenary. What is going to be done to mark this occasion?
Well, the main event, I think, is going to be that we're going to hire the Orient Express, the train, and we're going to run it from London to Torquay, where she was born, in South Devon, not very far from where we are now. And we're going to have David Suchet, hopefully, who plays Poirot now, on the train.
Hercule Poirot, yes.
And we're going to have a big banquet down there and a celebration performance of Spider's Web, one of her plays. And that's going to be...
What if there is a murder on the Orient Express?
Well, then we're all in trouble.
Well, that's, of course, one of her more famous books. Fascinating story about your grandmother and you. She gave you quite a birthday present. Your 9th birthday, was it?
She gave me the mousetrap when I was 9, but I'd like you to know she also gave me a train, a little wooden train, which I still have.
She gave you the mousetrap. She gave you, I understand, all the proceeds from the play of the mousetrap, is that right?
Correct.
That was just opening in the West End.
Correct.
And she expected it not to run very long.
She thought that a year would be a nice little run.
Tell people how long it ran.
It's still running 38 years.
Continuously, 38 years, that play,
That's right.
and still bringing him in. Which I think speaks really to the popularity. I mean, so many people know how it comes out, who done it, in effect, and they still come back.
It's become like the Tower of London, where I gather you're going next week. It's become like Buckingham Palace. You go and see the mousetrap. I mean, nowadays it's full of Americans, Japanese, Italians, French people, and it's also full of British people going for the second or third time. I mean, it's marvelous entertainment.
Well, I hate to think she gave you that for your 9th birthday. My goodness, what she must have given you for your 10th and 11th. But you couldn't top that, I don't suppose. Where did she get her plots?
She got them from listening to snatches of conversations in restaurants and listening to people talking in hotels and looking at the shape of people's heads and watching how they use their glasses, switching glasses on tables, wrote them down in notebooks, and then they all came together in stories.
Anything was fodder for her stories.
Yes.
Matthew Pritchard, happy birthday to your grandmother, and nice to have you here. You're nice to join us here on the Avon River.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good Morning America will continue in just a moment.
In our next hour, Peter Gabriel. Monday, Jacqueline Bissett joins us in London.
I say our cars.
Purchase at Marshall Fields.
Well, it seems like we've seen so much so far, and yet we are only halfway through now our 2-week tour of Great Britain and Ireland. Next Monday, we will visit London, and then on Tuesday, we broadcast from both Belfast in Northern Ireland and London, and then that's on down south to Kilkenny, Ireland for the rest of the week. And of course, there's still lots going on here in Bath this morning. Peter Gabriel, rock star and local here, and also Brenda Fricker, Academy Award winner. She's also a local resident. So we'll have lots more for you from Bath.
Transportation to London provided by Virgin Atlantic Airways with non-stop 747s from Newark, New York, Miami, and Los Angeles. Virgin Atlantic Airways, the entertainment capital of the sky. Accommodations provided by Crest Hotels. When travel takes you to the UK, think of Crest. At Crest Hotels, guests experience a level of service, style, and accommodations second to none.
Hey, jacuzzi.
The Senior College Championship on Jeopardy!
Welcome again from Bath, England, as we close out the first week of our 2-week stay in Great Britain and Ireland. This, of course, is our second day in one of the most beautiful cities in the world, thanks in part to the kind of mellow, honey-colored stone used in the 18th century to build the buildings here. Good morning, everyone. I'm Joan London.
And I'm Charles Gibson, and I'm out of breath.
I know. You remember he was on the boat a few minutes ago?
I had a 100-yard
well, they just floated back down the Avon here, and he ran up here.
Absolutely. Things are close, but not all that close. This is, as Joan mentioned, a very pretty area here. And so we sent Steve Fox into the back roads of southern England to take a look at the area and found some intriguing stories in the surrounding countryside of Bath. Also with us, two noted local residents. The musician Peter Gabriel has a recording studio right near here. Joan went over to talk to him yesterday afternoon. You'll see that conversation. And also joining us this morning will be the Oscar-winning actress, Brenda Fricker, who is here, who won the Best Supporting Actress award for My Left Foot just at the Academy Awards just a few weeks ago. Oh, Spencer.
Yes.
Just over there. He's at the Abbey in Bath. Spencer?
It's over here, right, Charlie? You caught me in mid-Bath. Actually, in the middle of Bath at midday, sitting at a nice outdoor cafe here. Actually, I'm holding up traffic there. People who want to go in and probably a few who'd like to get out. But we're going to continue our stroll through Bath in this hour, so stick around. You'll get to see more sights. Joan?
All right, Spencer. Right now, we'll go back to New York, where Mike Schneider has all the news of the day. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Joan. Good morning, everyone. The pictures that we're getting and more to now back overseas, where I understand Joan is taking a bus ride. Joan?
That's right. I'm on top of a Bath tour bus. These people thought they were just going to have a tour of Bath, but no. In fact, I found some folks from my hometown, from Sacramento, California. What are your names?
Larry and Susan Williams.
You having a good time here?
We're really enjoying ourselves.
Beautiful, beautiful place, huh?
Beautiful.
All right, well, we're going to go right now over to just a few blocks from here, over to Spencer Christian, who's right in the center of town by the Abbey. Hi, Spencer.
Hello, Joan, in the center of town at midday, and we've got a traffic jam here, a pedestrian traffic jam, as it seems that the entire town is out for a walk right now. And we're going to talk to some of the people here in the square in just a moment, but first let's take a look at today's weather. Starting with our satellite view of the weather back in the States, it's a mess down in the southern plains and the southwest as that stream of Pacific moisture continues to fuel showers and thunder showers in an area already hard hit by rainfall and flooding over the last couple of weeks. It looks like Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas will be hit again by shower activity today. Up in the Rockies, just a touch of moisture that's going to join the storms that are forming now in the plains. And up in the northeast, storms are departing, so it's going to be a mostly clear day and a fair day in the east and northeast, except for the cold weather that prevails up in the northeast and over the Great Lakes where heavy snow fell yesterday. But it'll be stormy and wet in the southern plains and central plains, sunny in the southwest and sunny up in the northern plains, but a bit on the cool side. As high as today will reach only to the 50s and 60s in the northern plains, 40s and 50s in the Great Lakes. Warmer in the southern tier of states, generally in the 70s and 80s, but out along the west coast, a cool day, highs only in the 60s. That's a look at the national weather, and here's a look at the weather where you are.
Good morning. Jerry Tappan, Channel 7 Newsroom. 47 degrees, clear skies, lots of sunshine this morning, clouding up this afternoon, some showers after midnight tonight, and a rainy day tomorrow. 62 today, 60 tomorrow.
Well, we told you there was a lot of pedestrian traffic out today, and most of the people appear to be Americans, and we found a few. Of course, they tend to stand out here. We'll start with Joan Cassidy from Pennsylvania. You're on vacation?
Yes, I am. We're touring Great Britain, England, London, Scotland, and Wales.
How long will you be here?
We've been here about 9 days. We're going home Saturday.
Enjoying it?
I love it. It's wonderful.
Okay, we have Jim and Lee Kingma from Michigan. You've been here since October, and what brought you here?
Well, we're missionaries with the Word of Life Ministries here in England.
Love it here?
Oh, we just love it. We enjoy the scones and the clotted cream and all.
So do we. And over on the end here, we have Oscar Johnson from Riverside, California. You're a student here?
Right. We're a student from RCC, and we're having an exchange program in London. So we've been here for 2.5 months, and it's great.
And now everybody back home can see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They haven't seen me in 2.5 months, so this is what I look like now.
Okay. Get a haircut, Oscar. Thank you, folks. Enjoy your stay here. We certainly have enjoyed ours. And I'll be back in just a few minutes with more weather. Charlie?
Thank you very much, Spencer. It's now 11 minutes after the hour. This week we have sent Steve Fox all around England, visiting the back roads parts of this country. And today he goes through the south of England. He visits a big wheel, some little people, and a man that you might call Mr. Thatcher.
Traveling through the south of England, I saw a lot more old-fashioned thatched roofs than any other place I visited in the United Kingdom. Thatching is an ancient craft, usually handed down from father to son. Michael Dre is a third-generation thatcher.
What we're doing, we shape up the edge, and it gets dressed up. The bundle goes in like this, as a temporary fixing. It all gets undone, joined together, and driven up with a legget, and you end up with a roof area like that down below.
Like many English thatchers, Michael has had to import most of the reeds he uses from continental Europe because the quality and quantity of the homegrown product is lacking. It will take Michael and his crew 5 weeks to complete the work on this large barn at a cost of about $23,000. The roof should last 20 to 30 years. There are currently about 800 thatchers in the country, almost 3 times as many as a decade ago. They're drawn to the craft by its independence, good pay, and steady work. Michael has a 2-year waiting list. Why are people going back to thatch?
I think people will like the more aesthetic values of a roof of this nature. You've got the insulation values, extremely warm in the winter, extremely cool in the summer, and people just like this sort of thing.
2 hours' drive to the northwest brought us to the small Devon hamlet of West Putford, the home of what is believed to be England's only reserve for garden gnomes. These fantasy figures, drawn from European folklore, crop up in millions of gardens around the country. Think of them as a British version of our pink lawn flamingos. For the past 11 years, about 1,000 gnomes have found a home here, where annually they draw 25,000 paying visitors, most of whom agree to don suitable headwear. Proprietor Ann Atkins is the keeper of the gnomes.
Why did you decide to select gnomes?
Well, I didn't. It wasn't my decision. It was the gnomes. They picked on me, didn't they? It's that way around, you know.
What does that mean?
Well, they wanted an own reserve. They wanted somewhere to live.
So they went knocked on your door and said, and build us a reserve?
In the world of the imagination, yes.
Our last stop took us to the town of Great Malvern in the west of England. What's made here is equally fanciful, but much less ethereal, Morgan's sports cars. I used to own one, so I've long wanted to see this place. Founded in 1911, it's run by the original family, making it the oldest privately owned car company in the world. From the beginning, they've been selling two things, speed and style.
It does stand out against the modern car. I mean, it just, and in fact, there was a little story some time ago. I was driving along a long straight road and a car came towards me. I didn't realize what it was first, but I thought to myself, God, that looks a nice car, you know. And then, surprise, surprise, it was a Morgan.
A Morgan looks like a classic 1930s sports car, and that's more or less exactly what it is. The design has changed very little since then, and it is still largely handmade. Only 9 or 10 cars are produced a week. There's a waiting list of 8 years. The United States used to be their biggest single market, but smog and safety regulations have slowed American imports to a trickle. 130 skilled craftsmen do everything from making the brake parts, to hammering the aluminum body into curves, to carving and hand-fitting the 76 different pieces of ash wood used throughout the car and in the frame.
I think the ash frame is very important. I mean, we are the only car now, bar one, to use an ash frame, and that is when the Queen has a Phantom 5 Rolls-Royce built with the glass canopy at the back. That's got an ash frame.
That's the only other one?
That's the only other one.
Charles Morgan, who used to race the cars at tracks around the world, will eventually take over the company.
For the foreseeable future, is there going to be a Morgan car company? Morgan continues.
Oh, undoubtedly. I mean, if the family doesn't continue it, somebody else will continue it.
Because?
Because of the Morgan. Because of the car.
Beautiful cars, but 8 years. Whew, that's a long wait. Quarter after the hour now. Academy Award-winning Brenda Fricker with us when Good Morning America continues.
You know, every day you...
And rock star Peter Gabriel will be joining us in our next half hour.
There were two major upsets at this year's Academy Awards, and of course one was Daniel Day-Lewis, who took home the Oscar for Best Actor for his performance as the Irish writer Christy Brown in the movie My Left Foot. And the other was Brenda Fricker, who took home Best Supporting Actress Oscar for her portrayal as Christy Brown's mother. And I want to take a moment right now for you to take a look at one scene from the film. It is a very touching scene in which Mrs. Brown tries to reinstill faith in her son after he's had his heart broken. Watch.
What do you think you're doing?
Building a room for you.
Don't be mad.
Maybe if you have a room of your own, I'll start painting again. You have my heart broken, Christy Brown. Sometimes I think you are my heart. Look, if I could give you my legs, I would gladly take yours.
All right, of course, Brenda Fricker is already very, very well known here in England for her work in the very popular BBC series called Casualties. She lives right down the road a piece in Bristol.
That's right.
So she's come to join us here in Bath today. And it's nice to have you with us. I'll say it's the first time I've seen you since the Oscar night. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Take us back to that night. What was it like? Did you have any inkling, any feeling that you were going to win?
No, and people don't believe you when you say that. They think you're being falsely modest. And no, I didn't. I mean, I knew I wasn't going to win. I was so kind of confident I wasn't going to win. I was so pleased to be nominated. That was the high point for me.
In fact, I heard you bet $50 is someone else. Is that true?
That's right, yeah. Not very good betting woman, am I?
Who'd you bet on?
Lee Nolan and Angelica Houston.
Did you pay up?
I did, yeah.
The trip in general to Hollywood, did you soak up a little of the glamour there? Meet anybody maybe that you had admired from afar?
I did indeed, yes. Warren Beatty and Jack Nicholson and people like that who said they'd liked the film. And it was, I just turned into a 3-year-old kid, really, you know. It was like so starstruck. But it was an incredible night. It hasn't really dawned on me yet. I go upstairs in my house and I come down and the Oscar's still sitting on the table. And I kind of think, what's that doing in my house?
So you found a place, though, for it at house?
I haven't found a sort of definite regular place, but it's there and it's mine. It's weird.
Hey, and it's in Bristol. What's Bristol like?
Oh, Bristol's wonderful. Bristol's terrific. I love Bristol. I bought a house there about 3 years ago. Not really intending to live there forever, but I've fallen in love with it now.
But why Bristol? I mean, first of all, you're Irish, but you've been here in England, I think, for about 20 years or so. But, I mean, London is certainly the center for film and stage and all of that.
Well, I mean, England's a much smaller country than America, I think. And, well, I know.
Yes.
And London has become very cold and very kind of aggressive city to live in. And Casualty is shot in Bristol. And that's how I kind of ended up there, and I really like it. Now, it's only an hour and 10 minutes from London on the train, you know, so it's not that far away.
What's Casualties like?
Casualty is a medical program, a bit like St. Elsewhere, as I said, but without the
somebody
humour.
told me it was a little like St. Elsewhere.
Yeah, it's a tough sort of political show in a way, and it shows the cutbacks in the National Health Service here, and I play this warm-hearted saint again. I'm always playing these wonderful women who give out tea and sympathy.
What was the reaction of your friends and your family when you flew back in here with the Oscar in your hand?
Well, there wasn't that much reaction here because my family's in Dublin, but I spent a week in Dublin with Daniel, and that was unbelievable. I mean, Hollywood was easy, Dublin was tough. It was incredible. It was a hell of a week, it really was.
Was it an incredible experience working on the movie?
It was very hard work because we had no money and we did long hours.
See
the digging, that was a hard day's work. And
yes.
we did about 5 or 6 takes on that, yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis, is Daniel Day-Lewis as intense as he seems, you know, in the movie?
He's a private young man, and he's intense about his work, and he's great fun as well, though. You know, he knows how to laugh.
Does it have an effect on your career? Are you getting roles? Are you getting offers now?
I am. I'm getting a lot of offers. Yeah, and I had to say to my agent, don't tell me anymore because I can't do them, and it's like teasing me, telling me.
So you have to finish Casualties
until September. I'm in the Casualty, so hopefully in September.
But
they'll still be offering. They stopped offering me by September. You see.
No, they won't stop. Listen, it's so nice to get to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Thanks, Brenda. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Two great at Salosia and Roosevelt Roads, where you always save more money.
This is an Eyewitness News Brief.
For 2 weeks only at
Hi, this is Peter Gabriel in Bath, England. Good morning, America.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Charles Gibson.
And I'm Joan London.
And Peter Gabriel's going to be with us in this half hour,
Absolutely.
Right? You know, it's always fun to talk about some of the stuff that's in the background here that people can see behind us in these shots and that we really don't explain enough. And a fascinating building right behind us, which is called the Empire Hotel. Designed by a fellow, Major Charles Davies. I didn't know the chap personally. He designed it back at the turn of the century as a hotel. But the roof line is designed to honor all classes in England. On the right there, the sort of turret effect, that is for royalty. In the middle, he's given a sort of manor house roof line to honor the nobility and those who would live in a manor house. And then on the far left, a sort of cottage roof line to take care of the general populace here.
And the idea was, I guess, that Queen Victoria would take care of everyone, no matter what class you were in.
That's right. That's the idea he had behind it. This building was seized by the government, used for the Admiralty staff all during World War II. It's been used by the Department of Defense here in England for the past 50 years. They shut it down. They're remodeling it to be a hotel. Open up again, and I suppose you'd want to live in the royalty turret.
Oh, Charlie. All right, we're going to be talking about two artistically inclined residents here in this area. First of all, Peter Gabriel. Peter Gabriel, rock star, also a political activist, musician, songwriter. He has built a beautiful state-of-the-art recording facility. It's actually like in Box, just the next little town over, and I got to visit him yesterday. We'll have that interview. We'll also talk about Jane Austen, and of course she immortalized Bath, and in her writing, certainly one of the greatest writers of the 19th century. Joel Siegel's going to take a look at her life, but right now, Mike Schneider's got the news. He's back in New York, and hi again, Mike.
Hi, Joan. Good morning again, everyone. Democrats live in England with living proof that you can make it through an entire work week without wearing a tie. Spencer?
That's true, Mike, and I'm loving it. I enjoy working without a tie, finally. I'm standing here under a tree right now, making quite an inviting target for birds, I'm sure. So let's get away from me and go to the maps to take a look at what's going on with today's weather. It's going to be a stormy day in the southern plains,
Spencer, you need to come up.
And southern plains.
Sorry. Instead of here, she wants him up there.
Showers and thunder showers developing in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and showers are departing the northeastern part of the country, tapering off. There was snow in the Great Lakes yesterday, and that's tapering off as well. About 21 inches accumulated around Marquette, Michigan. High temperatures today on the cool side in the northern two-thirds of the country, only in the 60s and 50s and 60s, 40s and 50s in the extreme northeast. Down in the southern tier of states, a bit warmer, highs generally in the 80s. That's a look at the national weather, and now we're going to take a look at the weather where you are.
Good morning, everyone. Jerry Tapp in the Channel 7 newsroom. Right now it's 47, clear skies, nice morning out there. Increasing clouds this afternoon. Warmer today, 62. Some rain in after midnight tonight. A rainy day tomorrow with a high of 60.
And another lovely shot of Bath, which is a very lovely town. It's hard to get anything but a lovely shot here. This weather report brought to you by Goodyear. Peter Gabriel making music in Bath after this.
Mommy, why do
Central.
LensCrafters made me these.
Custom craft your top quality glasses in about an hour. Call LensCrafters at 1-800-522-LENS.
There was the rock group Genesis, and then a solo career that hit with the power of a sledgehammer. But now Peter Gabriel's music is really the sounds and rhythms of foreign lands, and it all emanates from a state-of-the-art real-world recording studios just outside Bath, and that's where I caught up with him yesterday. Peter Gabriel craves change. Since his days as a rock star with Genesis, a video whiz with Sledgehammer, Peter constantly broadens his musical and global horizons. Guo Yui from China is typical of the kinds of musicians Gabriel invites to his real-world studios near Bath, built with profits from his 1986 smash album called So. I had a chance to visit with him at his studios to find out what's new. Tell me about the Real World Studios. What are you hoping to achieve here?
Well, I think when we first started this place, there was an intention to create an environment for performance, really. I think very often studios now are designed around the needs of the producer and the engineer more than the artist, in a way. And one of the things we're specializing in here is music from many countries.
Now, here at these studios, is it just these musicians from other countries, or are there all kinds of rock and rollers here?
Oh, we have rock and roll groups, and I mean, at the moment there's so an English rock band in the big studio. There is a French artist in the smaller room, and then Guo Yui upstairs, and also, in fact, Jeffrey Oriema is also being mixed there, who's a Ugandan singer.
Huh.
So
really fascinating. I think most of us got to know you as a rock and roller with Genesis. Now, where did all this interest from music of other countries come from?
Well, I think partly from being a writer and being intrigued, learning about what other people were doing and the way they go about things. And I think I started off as a drummer, pretty bad drummer, but I think my interest in rhythm has sort of led me towards other traditions. And I think when they started coming up with these little drum machines and you could program in your own rhythms, suddenly I had the opportunity to think exactly what are the rhythms that excite me and turn me on. And I went outside of rock.
Someone listening to you might say now, is he leaving rock and roll? Is he?
No, I mean, I still love songwriting and rock music. Well, rock music, I mean, it can be either a very narrow term or quite a broad term, and I think in its broadest sense, I still love rock music
What is it like for these musicians to come from their countries, come here and perform their traditional songs, and here they are struck by this state-of-the-art technology?
Well, I think it's a bit like us going to Africa or wherever it is and, you know, looking at and listening to their instruments. I mean, I think there's similar sort of fascination with it. But it can be a little intimidating at first, but, you know, we have certain rules in the recording process, such as, you know, if the music is rhythmic, then everyone has to be either dancing or shaking a piece of percussion or somehow getting involved with it.
Would a music purist be a little critical of exposing this traditional music to state-of-the-art?
Sometimes, and I mean, we actively encourage sort of marriages between different cultures, and sometimes it clashes, doesn't work, and sometimes you get fantastic moments. But for me, that's some of the most exciting things that we've had here. It's fantastic.
It was really incredible seeing all the musicians from all the different countries meet in the lunchroom and have that one common bond of music. Coming up next, Joel Siegel will take a look at the literary lioness Jane Austen right after this.
It is now 16 minutes before the hour down here on Dockside with some of the American tourists who are here, and Axthelm family in Portland, Oregon. You should know your son and daughter-in-law got here just fine. All this week, Joel Siegel has been on the literary beat here in England, and today he profiles one of England's most fluid writers.
When you'd come to Bath to take the waters, these are the waters you would take. 3 glasses at breakfast, 3 glasses at noon, served warm, pumped up straight from the bowels of the earth, and that's what it smells like. It smells like you left an egg salad sandwich in a wax paper bag in the backseat of your car 400,000 years ago. You had to be awfully sick to want to drink this stuff. I'd rather die first, which is pretty much what Jane Austen said when her family told her they were moving to Bath. She was so upset, she fainted.
When Jane Austen came here as a young girl, Bath was England's summer social capital. Glamorous balls like overdressed singles bars, glittering promenades at Sydney Gardens. This was the Aspen, the Malibu, the Hamptons of the British Empire.
But by the time her family moved here, the social scene had moved to Brighton. Her family came here to retire, so had everyone else's. No wonder she fainted. This was like sentencing a vivacious, good-looking 25-year-old single woman to leisure world. In the real world, there'd been the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, but the people here didn't have a clue. Their attitudes were set in concrete, and so was their conversation. And Jane Austen did what any writer would do. She wrote about it. And the writer's ultimate revenge, she made it funny.
Mary, try to sparkle a little. Just a little.
Jane Austen had a rich aunt and uncle she visited as a little girl who lived here at the Paragon. Rich, but boring. 20 years later, she'd write a novel, Northanger Abbey, about a country girl who came to Bath to stay with rich relations. Rich, but boring.
One day on this street, her aunt was arrested for shoplifting, stealing a packet of black lace. Because the packet was worth 5 shillings, about $1, the sentence could have been hanging. More likely, she would have been sent to prison in Australia for 14 years. She was refused bail. She spent 8 months in jail. When the case finally came to trial, it took the jury 15 minutes to find her not guilty. And Jane Austen never wrote about it. Why? If she told her aunt's story, everyone would have known who the writer was. And in the early 1800s, even spending 8 months in jail was far less scandalous than a woman writing a novel.
She had to write her first book under the pseudonym By a Lady. This is a scene from the Greer Garson Laurence Olivier classic film of her greatest novel, Pride and Prejudice. She'd write 8 novels, gentle satires of the manners and morals of a time when women weren't supposed to know anything, say anything, or be able to do anything.
Now turn sideways toward the target. Aim for the bullseye. That's right. Bullseye.
In her private life, Thomas Lefroy was as close as Jane Austen came to a real Laurence Olivier. But he had no money and she had no money, and had they married, they wouldn't have had any money together, and that just wouldn't do. The one true love of her life died while they were courting. A few years later, she did have a proposal of marriage from a cousin 6 years younger. She said yes that night, changed her mind the next morning. Except for her novels, she led a very uneventful upper-middle-class English life. But in her novels, Jane Austen had the last laugh.
Look at them. 5 of them without dowries. What's to become of them?
Yes, what is to become of the wretched creatures? Perhaps we should have drowned some of them at birth.
Jane Austen, a woman of sense and sensibility. 12 minutes before the hour, Joan Spencer and I will be back when Good Morning America continues.
You love it?
Spencer's come over from the Abbey and joined us here on the River Avon. You have a little message there?
Quick note, people keep handing me notes. To Richie Ellison, U.S. Navy, stationed at Little Creek down in Norfolk. Congratulations on your promotion to Chief Petty Officer. See you in August. The Gower family. They've been corresponding apparently for a while. So Richie Ellison, congratulations.
Yeah. We've seen so much so far. Have you had a favorite moment or anything?
My favorite moment occurred off the air, actually. I was over at the Roman Baths yesterday, setting up to go on the air, and a group of college students from California came by. They stopped to chat for a moment, and as they were walking away, you won't believe this, as they were walking away, one of the girls said, "What a stud." Made my day. Made my day.
I should have known.
Easy,
yeah.
So she exaggerated.
Well, I guess what we had said York was one of our favorite places because the
Minster is so
the Minster
beautiful.
is so beautiful. But this is just the countryside around here is breathtaking, and we took a little jaunt yesterday up to Box. Box is like the next little town over, which is much smaller than Bath, and then went on to Jane Seymour's house for dinner last night. And
name dropper.
As a matter of fact, we're going to stay around for this weekend.
We weren't doing anything for dinner last night.
Well, we had the Queen over last night, but...
Well, actually, we're going to stay around for the weekend because we're going to go to a polo match with her. Her husband plays polo.
And who's going to be at the polo match?
And he's going to be playing with Prince Charles.
So you're going to meet the fella?
Have a little chat with the old Charlie? Little Charlie?
Tough life slumming it like that, huh?
Take a camera. Shoot it.
Are you kidding? You think I'm not going to take a camera?
No. I mean one of our cameras. So we can play it next week. I think that might actually...
interfere with the...
The Prince might hide behind his horse.
So that should be fun.
You're not going to play
fun.
polo with the...
No, I'm going to go and watch and look very British.
Yeah. Well, those young girls from California should see the Prince.
Yeah. No, they found the right one.
All right. We look forward to next week. We're going to be in London on Monday. Joan will be in London on Tuesday. I'll be in Belfast. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we'll be in Kilkenny in Central Ireland. It's going to be fun as we have a second week over here. Nice to be able to do this for 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
It is now 7 minutes
Almost
before
9.
the hour.
That's right.
And we'll continue in just a moment.
And on Monday in London, Jacqueline Bisset and Mel Gibson.
Nobody. The Lazy at 9 on Channel 7.
5 before the hour, and quickly to Mike Schneider with a recap of the stories making news this morning. Michael?
Thank you, Charlie. Wholesale prices fell a bit way through another weather forecast, although from long distance. Spence?
Okay, Mike, final weather report of the weekend. Here we go. Showers tapering off in the northeast. Cold in the Great Lakes, although the sun